Ladies and gentlemen, there's a line that must never be crossed, a line drawn not by man, but by divine authority. And that line surrounds the innocent. You see, when you touch the innocent with wicked hands, you don't just provoke people, you provoke the hand of God. And the wrath of God is no joke. The justice of God is not delayed. The vengeance of God is not silent. And the protection he offers to the pure in heart, unshakable, immutable, untouchable. This message is not just a warning, it's a wake-up call. If you've ever been hurt, used, abused, or manipulated while you're walking in truth and innocence, I want you to know something. God saw it, and God will deal with it. He cripples those who dare to harm his children. You may feel unseen, unheard, forgotten, overlooked by the people you trusted most. The world is loud for the powerful and quiet for the weak. And when you're the one who walks with purity of heart, when you try to live right, love right, and treat others with integrity, but you're still the one who gets hurt, left out, and betrayed, it can feel like no one is watching. But let me tell you something powerful. Just because man ignores you doesn't mean God does. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, watching the evil and the good. That's not just a verse, it's a divine guarantee. God sees what man chooses to ignore. He sees the secret battles behind your smile. He sees the silent tears you cry when the lights go off and no one's around. He sees the manipulation, the betrayal, the unfair treatment, the lies whispered in dark corners against you. God sees it all. Every act done in the dark is exposed in his light. You see, humans have selective sight. They see what benefits them. They see what shines. They see what screams. But God sees what is hidden. He doesn't need the spotlight to find the truth. He is the light. And when his eyes are on you, that means nothing goes unnoticed. That means every act of cruelty, every time someone used your kindness as a weakness, every moment you were overlooked while someone else got praised for what you did, God wrote it down, and he doesn't forget. But here's the beauty of God's justice. It's not rushed, it's right. God doesn't just react emotionally like people do. He doesn't just throw out punishment and anger. He waits until the moment is perfect, and then he delivers justice that not only corrects the wrong, but elevates the innocent. His justice doesn't just expose the lie, it redeems the truth. And when it comes like thunder. It shakes the ground. It reverses the roles. The one who was crying becomes the one who is crowned. The one who was oppressed becomes the one who is elevated. Let me give you a short but powerful example. A young woman worked in an office, doing her best, quiet, respectful, never causing trouble. She stayed late to help, took on responsibilities no one else wanted, and always gave credit where credit was due. But her supervisor didn't like her. Not because of performance. Oh no, the performance was excellent, but because she was everything the supervisor was not. Honest, humble, and consistent. So the supervisor started rumors, gave her work to others, took credit for her results, and eventually found a way to have her demoted. The woman cried, privately, silently, but she didn't retaliate. She didn't gossip. She didn't fight dirty. She kept working, kept serving, kept trusting that somehow her name would be vindicated. 3 months later, an upper-level executive did a surprise audit of project data, and guess what? All the metrics traced back to the young woman. Her name, her input, her work. The lies came out. The truth stood tall. And that same supervisor who thought she had buried her, she got fired. The young woman, she was promoted 2 levels up. That's how God works. He sees what others ignore, and in the right moment, he will show everyone what he saw the whole time. You may not be seen by people, but you are seen by the one who matters most. And when he moves, your pain becomes a platform. Your faith becomes fuel. Your tears, they become a testimony. So don't give up. Don't grow bitter. Just remember, God is watching and justice is coming. Innocence is more than just being naive or unaware. It's a position of the heart. When you choose to walk in truth, in humility, with clean hands and a pure heart, you step into a covenant with heaven. That covenant doesn't promise that you won't face battles. It doesn't say that life will always be fair, but it does promise this: you will not face those battles alone. When you walk in innocence, God becomes your defender. There is a divine shield wrapped around those who are sincere, those who speak the truth even when it costs them, those who don't play dirty just to win. In a world that glorifies retaliation, manipulation, and stepping over others to rise, the innocent are often underestimated. People think meekness is weakness, but it's not. Meekness is power under control. Meekness is, I have the strength to clap back, but I choose to step back and let God fight this one. And when you do that, you move out of the realm of human justice and into the dimension of divine justice. And make no mistake, God knows how to win battles. Look through the scriptures and you'll see it again and again. When Pharaoh refused to release the Israelites, God didn't tell them to raise a sword. He raised his own hand. Plagues hit Egypt not because Moses was powerful, but because God was defending the innocent. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, he didn't scream or beg. He stayed still, and the lions' mouths were shut, not by Daniel, but by heaven itself. Why? Because innocence activates divine protection. You see, God doesn't fight for the proud. He doesn't fight for the manipulative. He doesn't fight for those who scheme their way through life. But the moment someone touches the innocent, heaven takes it personally. When someone falsely accuses you, mocks you, uses you, or manipulates you while you're walking in integrity, God steps in. You may not see it instantly, but don't confuse silence with absence. God is never absent. There's a spiritual law at work that says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. That law doesn't just apply to preachers and public figures. It applies to anyone who walks in truth, in humility, and in righteousness. When you are covered by the blood and anchored in integrity, your enemies aren't just messing with you. They're messing with your defender. And what God defends, no one can destroy. That's why you don't have to chase rumors. You don't have to correct every false statement made about you. You don't have to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. Just keep walking in truth. Keep walking in love. Keep walking in your lane. Because while you're walking, God is working. He's preparing a table for you in the presence of your enemies. He's orchestrating situations that will reveal the truth. He's setting up moments that will expose every lie. And when he moves with power. He doesn't just clear your name, he elevates it. He doesn't just protect you, he promotes you. Let me give you an example. There was a young man working at a large corporate firm. He was excellent at his job, skilled, honest, respectful. But he had a coworker who saw his light and felt threatened by it. This coworker started spreading rumors. Small things at first, comments in meetings, questions about the young man's competence, subtle lies. Eventually, the gossip reached upper management, and despite all his hard work, the young man was placed on probation and removed from key projects. Now, this is where many people would have snapped, fought back, retaliated, but not him. He stayed silent. He stayed excellent. He kept showing up early, kept doing his work without complaint. And every time he felt anger rise, he said, God, I know you see this. I won't fight dirty. I'll trust you. 6 months later, the company launched an internal audit. They discovered emails, evidence, messages exposing the coworker's lies, manipulation, and backdoor attempts to sabotage others. Not only was the coworker fired immediately, but management publicly apologized to the young man. They reinstated him with a higher role, a better salary, and a stronger position. He didn't have to lift a finger. God did it for him. The power of innocence. That's the reward of integrity. You don't have to defend yourself. God becomes your defense. While others are trying to climb over people to get to the top, you can walk straight and watch how heaven lifts you higher than they ever could. Don't let the world fool you into thinking kindness is weakness. Don't let temporary injustice convince you to compromise your character. There's a bigger battle going on, and you have a champion in your corner. The innocent carry favor, and the wicked, no matter how high they rise, carry a target on their back. Innocence is not passive. It's not powerless. It's a spiritual posture that provokes divine intervention. And when heaven defends you, no lie can stand, no scheme can succeed, and no enemy can stop what God has planned. So walk in truth, stay humble, stay clean, and watch what happens when God steps in to fight for you. There are people walking around with smiles on their faces and blood on their hands, people who've lied, cheated, abused, manipulated, and hurt others, and they think they got away with it. They think that just because lightning didn't strike immediately, God must have missed it, that maybe he was asleep, that maybe justice took a vacation. But let me be clear, God is not asleep. He's watching, he's waiting, and when he moves with a wrath that is both real and righteous. God's wrath is not wild. It's not like man's anger. We react out of emotion. God responds out of justice. When he judges, he doesn't miss. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't overdo it or underdo it. His justice is measured, precise, perfect, but make no mistake, when God's wrath shows up, it is final. People confuse God's patience with permission. They think because judgment doesn't happen right away, it won't happen at all. But patience is not a free pass. It's not a loophole. Patience is grace, and grace is time. Time to change, time to repent, time to make it right. But when that time runs out, when grace has been rejected, ignored, and mocked, then justice steps in. And when justice comes from heaven, it doesn't come softly. God doesn't just humble the wicked, he cripples them. He breaks the systems they built to hurt others. He dismantles their power. He bankrupts their influence. He dries up the very thing they used to destroy others. And he does it in a way that makes it known. This wasn't chance. This wasn't karma. This was divine correction. Some are crippled emotionally. They lose their peace. Their mind becomes a prison. What once gave them joy now brings them torment. Others are crippled financially. Every deal dries up. Every door closes. And the fortune they built on the backs of others begins to rot. Some are crippled socially. Relationships fall apart. Respect is lost. And their name becomes poison. And yes, some are crippled physically, not because God delights in pain, but because he uses pain to make sure they never hurt another innocent soul again. And still, God does it with perfect wisdom. He knows when to act, he knows where it will hurt most, and he knows how to make justice loud enough for others to learn from it. Because when God steps in, it becomes a warning to others. Do not play with the innocent. Do not mock the patience of God. Do not assume silence means weakness. Let me give you a real-life example to bring this home. There was a man, well-known, powerful, respected in his industry, but behind closed doors, he was a manipulator. He used his position to intimidate, take advantage of, and silence those beneath him. Young employees feared him. Women were harassed. Men were mistreated, but no one said a word because he was too big to fall. People whispered, but the evidence was buried. The truth stayed hidden, and the man kept climbing. More power, more influence, more applause, but what he didn't see was that God was watching, and while man looked away, God was building a case. Then suddenly the spotlight shifted. One brave person came forward, then another, and it all came out. Every secret, every hidden thing, the very company that praised him turned its back. Lawsuits followed, friends scattered, assets frozen, deals canceled. His face, once on the cover of magazines, became a symbol of disgrace. In just a matter of months, everything he built crumbled like dust. And in a chilling interview, he said something striking. I feel like I'm being haunted. No, sir. You're not being haunted, you're being judged. That's what happens when God decides enough is enough. His wrath doesn't always come with fire and thunder. It comes with silence that destroys, exposure that burns, and justice that can't be escaped. And here's the truth. It doesn't matter how powerful someone looks on the outside. If they've hurt the innocent, judgment is coming. That's why we must never envy the wicked. Don't be fooled by their temporary success. Don't wish you had their fame, their followers, their fortune, because if it was built on pain, on betrayal, on broken souls, then it's cursed from the root. It might look like they're winning, but in the spiritual realm, they're on borrowed time. God's grace may be holding back the judgment, but when the clock hits 0, justice won't be delayed another second. So if you've been hurt, stay clean. Don't become like them. Don't retaliate. Don't seek revenge. Let God handle it, because he will. He's slow to anger, but he never forgets. And when he acts, the guilty are silenced and the innocent are restored. If you're the one who's caused the pain, repent now, because grace is still on the table, but it won't be there forever. When grace expires, wrath arrives. And it doesn't ask for permission. God's wrath is not about cruelty, it's about correction. It's about protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. It's about making sure that evil doesn't reign forever. And it's about sending a message to this world. You may think you got away with it, but the one who sees all will make all things right. So don't ever doubt justice. Don't ever think God forgot. He's watching. He's waiting. And when the time is right, his wrath will speak louder than any lie, any cover-up, any abuse of power. And when he moves, nothing can stop him. When you've been hurt deeply, unfairly, it's natural to want to act, to speak out, to strike back, to prove a point, to get even. But there is a higher path, a wiser path. Stand still, not in weakness, not in fear, but in faith. Because when you stand still, God stands up. And when he moves, nothing stays the same. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. That's not a suggestion. That's a promise. God never told you to get even. He told you to trust him. Because what looks like silence from heaven is not absence. It's preparation. God is not ignoring what was done to you. He is building something in secret that will reveal everything in the open. Too many people rush ahead trying to fix things their own way. They burn bridges, destroy reputations, and let bitterness set up camp in their hearts. But God didn't call you to be a destroyer. He called you to be a witness to what he can do when you trust him enough to let go of revenge. When you try to handle it on your own, you get temporary satisfaction. But when God handles it, he brings eternal vindication. He doesn't just shut mouths, he flips tables. He doesn't just clear your name, he elevates your life. He doesn't just expose the ones who tried to break you, he uses their attack to build you. Don't let bitterness take root. Bitterness poisons you, not them. It's a slow leak that drains your joy, your faith, your future. And vengeance, that's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. It will ruin you. But forgiveness, surrender, stillness, that's where strength is born. That's where peace lives. And that's where God does his most powerful work, because when God moves, it's undeniable. People who looked untouchable, suddenly exposed. Those who sat in high places, suddenly removed. Those who manipulated, lied, betrayed, they lose what they thought they'd never lose. And the ones they tried to crush, the ones they mocked, abandoned, and laughed at, God raises them in public with power, with purpose. But hear this, God's justice doesn't just restore you, it redefines you. He doesn't just give you back what was taken. He gives you more than what was lost. He gives you influence, anointing, wisdom, and power that only comes through pain. Your scars become your strength. Your wounds become your witness. You don't walk away with bitterness. You walk away with authority. Let me give you a real life example. There was a young woman working in a corporate environment. She was brilliant, sharp, creative, full of integrity, but her manager felt threatened by her talent. Instead of mentoring her, he undermined her, lied about her performance, took credit for her work, spread rumors that damaged her reputation. Eventually, he orchestrated her exit, pushed her out without giving her a chance to defend herself. She was crushed, angry, ready to retaliate. Friends told her to sue. Others said to expose him online. But after wrestling with her pain, she made a decision. She would stand still. She chose not to respond out of emotion. She chose to trust God with her reputation. She moved on in silence. For a year, she saw no sign of justice. But what she didn't know was this: God was moving. That same manager who thought he'd won began facing issues, internal investigations, leadership changes. People he manipulated began to speak up. Hidden things came to light. Within months, he was removed, not quietly, but publicly. His reputation shattered. And the young woman, she was contacted by another company who had heard of her integrity. Not only did she land a better position, but she was promoted within her first 6 months. She became a mentor to other young professionals, and eventually her story was featured in a leadership publication. Her pain became her platform. Her stillness became her strength. And her story, it became evidence of divine justice. That's what happens when you trust God. He prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemies, not behind closed doors, in public, in plain sight. He blesses you where others tried to break you. He honors you where others tried to humiliate you. You won't just survive, you'll shine. So if you've been wronged, betrayed, overlooked, stand still. Don't curse. Don't retaliate. Don't chase people who walked away. God is preparing something better. And when he moves, it will shut the mouths of your critics, silence the lies, and turn every setback into a setup. This isn't just about revenge. It's about redemption. About God using what was meant to destroy you to develop you. About turning your story into a weapon, not a weapon of hate, but of hope. Hope for others who've been where you've been. Hope for those still in the middle of the storm. Because when people see where you end up and how you got there, they'll know it wasn't you. It was God. His grace, his favor, his justice, his power. So be still, be strong, and trust the one who sees all, knows all, and never forgets. He's moving. And when he's done, they'll know who they were messing with wasn't just you, it was heaven's chosen. It's easy to look around and feel disheartened. You see people who lie, cheat, manipulate, and still win. They drive the cars you dream of, live in houses you admire, wear clothes that scream success. They smile for the cameras, stack their money, and post their wins all over social media. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to wonder if integrity even matters. You'll start to question if doing things the right way is worth it. But let me remind you of something unshakable. Never envy the wicked. Their end is already written. Success without integrity is a time bomb. It looks shiny on the outside, but it's hollow on the inside. It may tick for a while, weeks, months, even years, but one day it will explode. And when it does, everything that was built on injustice will come crashing down. Because God is not mocked. He does not turn a blind eye to the abuse of power. He does not ignore the cries of the innocent. He is watching and he is counting every wrong. And when the time is right, he acts. You might ask, why does God let them rise in the first place? Because God gives rope, not for escape, but for exposure. He lets them climb high enough so when they fall, the world sees it. He lets them build empires on sand, so when the storm comes, it's a public collapse. Why? So people will learn that character matters, that righteousness isn't weakness, that God always settles the score. Don't envy someone who got ahead by pushing others down. Don't admire those who manipulate their way to the top. You're not seeing the whole picture. You're seeing the highlight reel, not the hidden rot. Behind that smile could be torment. Behind that fortune, a curse. Because money gained through wickedness becomes a prison, not a blessing. The very things they boast about will become their burden. Now here's what's dangerous. If you start to envy them, you'll start to imitate them. And once you imitate them, you forfeit your favor. You might gain some temporary wins, but you'll lose divine protection. And that's a trade you never want to make. You don't want anything God didn't give you, because if he didn't give it, it won't last. Let me share a powerful example. There was a man in the real estate world, young, charismatic, sharp, and ruthless. He had no problem stepping on people to get ahead. He forged documents, manipulated deals, evicted struggling families just to increase his profit margins. And he climbed quickly. Within 5 years, he was a millionaire. He drove exotic cars, lived in a mansion, and was interviewed by business magazines. People envied him. Others tried to copy him. And to the outside world, it looked like he was untouchable. But behind the scenes, he was cutting corners, breaking laws, and exploiting people. And slowly, his empire began to crack. A whistleblower came forward, then another. Investigations were launched, lawsuits filed, and what looked like a thriving kingdom fell like a house of cards. In less than a year, he lost it all. His name was dragged through the mud. His finances were drained by court battles. And the same public that praised him turned their backs on him. He ended up bankrupt, disgraced, and alone. And the families he evicted, many of them were helped by nonprofits, supported by community programs. And some even ended up buying homes of their own. They were protected. He was exposed. That's what happens when you build without character, when you climb on the backs of the innocent, when you chase success at the cost of your soul. God might let it go for a season, but he won't let it stand forever. He will always defend the humble, and he will always dismantle the wicked, piece by piece. So don't be fooled by temporary applause. Don't chase what others have, especially if they didn't get it righteously. That promotion they cheated for, it's going to bury them. That relationship they manipulated into, it's going to drain them. That platform they lied to build, it's going to collapse under them. God is not slow, he's strategic. He's watching how you respond. Will you stay faithful when it seems like evil wins? Will you stay humble when pride seems to be the path to success? Will you walk with integrity even when it costs you something? Because if you do, God will honor it. He will elevate you in due time. And when he does, no man can bring you down. You won't have to manipulate your way in. You won't have to maintain an image to stay relevant. You'll walk in peace, in purpose, in power. Because what you have won't be fake. It will be from God. And what he gives, no one can take. So hold your ground, keep your heart pure. Don't envy the wicked, pity them. They don't know the storm that's coming, but you're being built for something eternal. You're not chasing success, you're carrying favor. And favor doesn't just last a season, it lasts a lifetime. You're not late, you're not overlooked, you're being preserved for the right moment, the right room, the right reward. And when your time comes, people will ask how you got there, and you'll smile and say, God did it, and I didn't have to step on a single soul to get here. So let this be a message to the broken, the betrayed, the forgotten, the ones who were pure in heart but paid a painful price. God is not done. He's not silent. He's not absent. He's preparing judgment for the wicked and justice for the wounded. And let this also be a warning to anyone who dares to touch the innocent for personal gain. You are playing with fire. You are provoking the Most High. And when he moves, he doesn't just rebuke, he cripples. You don't have to fight dirty to win. You don't have to scheme to succeed. You don't have to hurt others to rise. Walk in truth, walk in love, walk in righteousness. Because what God gives, no man can take. And what God protects, no man can destroy. God cripples those who dare hurt the innocent, but he crowns those who protect them. Stay righteous, stay strong, and let the justice of heaven speak. Would you like this formatted for a video or read aloud version as well?